Good afternoon. This is Dr. Rich Bernardo speaking to you from my alchemy lab, so to speak. I'm the author of the alchemy of the leadership simulation, and otherwise known as the catalyst in this case, to help you become take on a variety of roles and play them well in order for you to help your team, in your case, the world out there team, be the kind of team that will transform not only the community that you serve, but also, perhaps more importantly, the school district that you feel needs to be upgraded from lots of different ways. Each of the videos I've made on this website to date has spoken specifically to given roles. And this is, in your case, what you'll need to do as the board president is to review the roles of your teammates, the Steve Jobses, the economic demographers, and the politicians and so forth. Because even though you are the head of the school board, you are also actually in charge of the community group, since after all, the board president comes from the community, to work with the educational leadership team to do many things, but in short, to recreate the ABC school district, A, and B, to complement the efforts of the ABC school district to enter the 21st century with the efforts of the school, of the community itself to enter the 21st century as well. And that's a tall order. Now, what I'm going to say to you now, you're going to hear in all of the other videos as you review your colleagues' videos quickly. And one of them would be that you will need to recognize the difference and the importance of role playing and role taking. You are playing a given role. In your case, you're the board president. But more importantly, you need to not only play that role, that is to say, to run the group that runs the world out there team policy formulations, as well as in certain senses be the superintendents and the educational leadership teams bosses as such. But more importantly, you need to recognize that you need to play that role. You need to play Goldilocks if that's the role you've been given by the sorting test. In this case, the sorting test has found a way to make you the education. I'm sorry, I keep saying that. In your case, the sorting test that you took enabled us to, the website, to decide that you and I as Catalyst decide to make you the board president and the culture expert, which I'll come to in a minute. And so your responsibility in this case is to play that role as you think that it might need to be played. And more importantly, in certain senses, much more importantly, your role is to take the role. Now, taking the role has much to do with your trying to internalize what I'm about to tell you. Because what you need to do is really read the handout that will also be provided and to use this video to begin to internalize what the expectations and behaviors that you will have to enact in order to be assured that everyone else will rise to the occasion as well. Nothing's worse than a simulation where participants don't take the role. They may play it, but if they don't take the role, that is to say, take some of those dispositions and think like that person has been assigned, the simulation will suffer greatly and really not be worth the amount of time that's been invested into it. So your job is to take the role as the board president, to run that group, to help everyone in the group take their roles. And in addition, just to confuse it just a little bit more, your job is to also have a specialty, as the other role players have. And the specialization that you're going to have, in my mind, as the catalyst, as the author of this, is to be the culture expert. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on that in this particular video. It's so important that I'm going to have a separate video done. And what will happen is that both you, as the board president, and whoever plays the superintendent will also need to watch that video carefully, because the superintendent will be the culture specialist in the educational leadership team, And you will be the specialist in the World Out There team. And before I forget, don't forget that you're not trying to conquer the educational leadership team, I don't think, any more than they're supposed to try to beat you as the leader of the World Out There team. You're not at odds with each other. You're not going to, at the end, be assessed for whether you won in terms of your ideas, so much as to see how the two groups have found ways to synthesize from the two sets of perspectives that we've established, so that the two become one, and there's a coalescence of collaboration that will propel the district and the community into a futures-based mindset. And that's all I'm going to say about culture right now. But clearly, you're going to need to do some homework on that and pay careful attention to the video I will be doing about culture as a specialty. Now, let's get more specific about you insofar as your job as the board president, and then you'll get a chance to take a look more carefully at the culture video when that goes up on the website. So once again, you're charged with chairing the World Out There group. And the World Out There group is charged with working with the other group, which is the educational leadership team. And the two of them, as I said a moment ago, need to work with each other on given issues. And as the board president, obviously you have, as the handout says, you have one foot in one street and another on the other street in certain senses. And it might confuse you a bit, but on the one hand, for the most part, you are representing the ABC community. And insofar as how the ABC community complements, works with, supports the efforts of the educational leadership team by the policies you may suggest to take everything to the next place. Now, you've grown up here, you raised your family here, you know the history, the tradition, and the values. In other words, you know the culture of the district, as well as probably of the school district. I'm sorry, you know the history and the culture of the community, and to a large extent, but maybe not a total extent, you also know the culture of the school district. But now you become the board president because you really saw things going south, not going well, and you really want to take part in reversing what you have seen, the district's capacity to deal with unforeseen change, and to see how the community has been negatively afflicted by the conditions and status of how the ABC school district is standing up or not standing up, and so forth. So you want to see change, but you're not altogether sure about how to go about doing it. You're also aware of the social and economic and demographic divisions among the residents, which was described pretty carefully in the model, and your economics / demographer can shed more light on some of those things, as well as your business person and your politician, because they all have opinions about those things as well. And you need to figure out a way to get them to coalesce, solidify around a collective sense of purpose, which is pretty much the second thing you're going to be doing when the simulation kicks into the next gear. And you're also aware that there are divisions that have distorted people's values, and there's not a real consistency or unanimity of opinion about where the district needs to go and what it needs to do. And so you're interested in transforming the district as well as influencing the community itself to see a new light. Not an easy task, and that's why we charged you with that. And so those divisions that we spoke about, they've led to escalating adversarial relationships. Union is not too happy with how the district is run, insofar as their conditions are concerned, and the reverse is true as well, which would be that the educational leadership team has suffered an adversarial relationship with its teachers and staff members, and a lot of that was fomented by the dissatisfaction with the district by the community that you're also representing. So there's been strikes, and there's been discord, and there's been lots of things going on. Main Street is largely boarded up. We read about Norman, the student, and see that he's emblematic of what the school district has been able to turn out. Parents aren't happy. Parents are taking children out of the school and going elsewhere with them. The job preparedness issues are an issue, as well as college preparation, for that matter. Probably the best thing, with all respect to the prior superintendent, was that he decided to retire. And that change in leadership gave you the chance to pick somebody who would help you drag the school district, and by extension, perhaps the community, out of the mire in which it currently resides, uh, so that it can transform itself. So again, the sum, SUM, of ABC is about dissatisfaction, about concern, about disagreement about what the dissatisfaction is, about conflicting agendas, and an inability to collaborate. And it's also a victim of national and global issues. We know that this video is being done in 2020, and we are all aware that the pandemic has certainly really put almost a chokehold on the economy, which is just compounded so many of the other divisions and issues that we had to begin with. And it's an unhappy time. And this simulation isn't meant to solve all of that, but it is meant to give you some skill sets to consider how those things also bear down on your district and your community. You're not in a bubble. You are part of the whole world's issues, like it or not, because they all cross over with each other. They all intertwine with your own challenges, and that's going to require that you are forced to nurture a new kind of leadership, an alchemical one, to turn coal into gold, so to speak, so that you can begin to engage some of those common emerging futures and make creative decisions about either moving towards them or, in a more difficult way, moving away from them. Take that to heart. Pay careful attention to the issues that are concerned. If you do nothing in the district role, in the world out there team role, you'll stand, in a certain sense, out of the group to watch their culture behave. And you'll be able to talk more about that when we go to the videos about culture.